Not, no.
Welcome to the Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Wednesday night segment of the Outer Realm. We are broadcasting live right here in the United Public Radio Network and UFO Paranormal Radio Network, 105.3 and 107.7 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee who have been a part of our journey literally since day one. So thank you, Folgers. We appreciate you so much. The journey would not be the same without you. Also, big thank you to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, for his contribution of his time, his voice, and his music for our intro and outro. He's an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, which can be found basically anywhere that amazing music can be found. Also, big thank you to Steve McGinnis, the artist behind the artwork of the Outer Realm. You can find him on Instagram and Facebook. He does a lot of commission pieces and has some great stuff ready to go on hand at all times. Tonight, we welcome for the very first time, and it's such an honor, believe me, because I am a fan of Reverend Michael Carter, who you guys are probably all know from Ancient Aliens, and he's done a few other things, Coast to Coast and such. His latest book, of course, is Initiation, the Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer. And we're going to be talking about some of his his experiences as a UFO experiencer. And I think it's going to be just awesome. I can't wait. But in order to do so, everybody, we have 8 chat rooms. So please find us. Let's start with YouTube on UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, UFO Paranormal Radio, which essentially is United Public Radio, the Outer Realm on YouTube. Then we skipped over to Facebook. So we have the Outer Realm, of course. We have United Public Radio, UFO Paranormal Radio, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover, News on the Flip Side, and Canada's Most Haunted. So there we go. A lot of people chiming in already. Our guest is pretty much ready to go, I'm thinking, at any time. So Bubbles,
I'm saying hi to Preston. We have another celebrity here.
Dolly,
Preston loves him, so he and Dolly are here. Yes.
I'm just going to pop these all up while you're
okay.
reading.
Yes. Our guest tonight is Reverend Michael Carter. He is an ordained interfaith minister, author, TV personality. Listen to this. Anti-racism trainer who's been recognized by President Clinton for his efforts, as well as a longtime UFO contactee. Please help us welcome Reverend Michael Carter.
Hello.
Hey, everybody. Can you see me?
We cannot see you. We have your voice. You have to.
What happened here?
You just have to accept the camera. Sorry, Michelle.
Yeah. Do you want to let's log off and come back and then give StreamYard the permission to use your camera, and you will be right here with us.
Yeah, I don't understand why I didn't.
Yeah, just use the same link and pop right back on, but just give permission for your camera. Just click it on; it'll let you.
Okay, give me. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, give it a shot, and I will.
What do I have to click on here? I got Stop cam.
Well, you can leave the studio, but I'll boot you out right now and you can try.
No, okay, I'm going to come back, okay?
All right, darling.
Okay.
All right, don't go. This is weird. Hold on.
Okay, we're right here.
Oh, how sweet.
I know, it always takes a little bit with this one. You have to give everything. This thing wants all permission,
Oh, yes.
so but
Yes.
we'll wait.
From
Yeah, it's gonna be
everything.
really exciting.
Server, browser, camera, microphone.
I know,
Yeah.
I know,
Pop-ups.
I know. He's just such a sweetie. I just, love interacting with him,
Yeah.
so. Oh my goodness. Okay, so he's gonna give it a
That is
whirl.
so funny.
Yeah, chat room. I mean,
What is
imagine
his
chat
book
room
called
lining up.
again? Initiation?
The initiation. I'm going to put it up right now for everybody to see. Hold on.
Yes, just so I have it for break, because that's a long one.
It's a long one. This is the latest one.
The spiritual transformation of the experiencer. Wow.
All right, here we go. We're going to try this again. No. I still don't have you camera.
Wow.
I know.
Is it clicked stop cam at the bottom?
No.
Yeah.
Then
I
click it
didn't click.
again.
Yeah, just put it. Oh, here we go. Here we go. I think it's coming.
Okay.
Yeah, if you click where it says.
I click start cam.
Okay.
Now click it again.
No, he's gone again.
For some. Okay, is your camera blocked?
Hold on, ladies.
Okay.
There I am.
Woo! There's the man.
Yay! There's the beautiful smile. How are you today, sir?
Okay, gang. I'm sorry. You know what I did? I'm too old to text.
No, you have the greatest.
I put this light on. Oh, it doesn't matter. But I see let me turn that back on. Preston, hey brother.
Preston is right here.
He's here.
There we go.
Hey,
Look at there we go.
There he is. That's my friend. That's my friend, Preston.
It's great. Everybody's tuning in. So
yes.
welcome.
Hi everybody. Sorry about this confusion.
You have the best smile ever. It was worth waiting for. Don't worry.
I know.
Thank you.
Constance, hello.
Yeah, quite a few of our former guests are here to see you.
Preston
Yes.
on. Everybody's rallying in. Here we go. There we are.
Oh, too cute.
Hey, everybody. Preston.
Now it's a party.
That's right.
Yes, it is. Thanks for having me on. I was looking forward to this.
Oh, thanks.
Us too.
So were we. It's such an honor to have you on. I love to follow you, and I'm so interested when you come on the show. I mean, Ancient Aliens obviously is one that I do enjoy watching, and you've commented on that one and others. And I'm always just so fascinated by how humble you are, even when you speak, and it's just really nice to hear.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Well, Preston's a celebrity too.
Preston's been on the show about 6 times.
Preston's on the show once a month.
He's the same way. I mean, it's just a very gentle spirit.
Oh,
yes.
Thank you for that.
Oh,
I've been looking forward to this. It's been crazy, and with work, and it's that busy time of year, and I'm loving it. And so this is it. I hope we can get everything in. If not, I'm
bring you back.
Come back on, and it's no
Ask
problem.
Preston. He's kind of like a third co-host.
Yeah.
I didn't know that. Yes.
Yeah, we just call Preston the third host. He's been on so many times. It's almost once a month if you stretch it out. Yeah.
I know.
We love him.
Has been on twice. Dolly's been on at least twice. Preston's we're just like a happy family. It's just, we know what our people love, and we want to just keep bringing it back, and you just become so much more acquainted. So, I kept thinking, where do I want to start? Because you've just got all of this amazing content. And I thought, you know what? I love your idea of let's just roll with it. And
let's just see where the spirit takes us. I mean, there's no if I don't know an answer, I will say I don't know.
That's
but
okay.
Nothing is off base.
I like that, but you're allowed. We'll let that go. So why don't we start with the beginning? Because you have in your bio that you were a lifetime UFO experiencer. I would love to start there. I'm sure as everybody would love to. Look at that, more super fans, right? Exactly.
Wow,
That's Natalie from
Mindful
South
Quest.
Carolina.
Hey.
Yeah,
Well,
Mindful Quest.
the beginning's a good place to start. And one of my favorite theologians is Kierkegaard, but he says life is lived forward, but it's only understood backwards. So,
right.
yeah, he
Something
was on to something. Yeah,
Okay.
and December 28th, 1989. Now, looking back from there, I could go back and say, well, I was having these visits when I was younger, but I didn't know that
Right.
until I got regressed and all that. So I'll go from December 28th, 1989. I was in, well, there was a lot going on. I had left the Baptist tradition that I, had come up with. And I was just studying and reading existentialist philosophers and studying tarot cards and metaphysics and all that. So it was an exciting time in my life. I had left the theater. I was an actor in New York. And so, my girlfriend at the time, we went to Mexico. We used to go every Christmas, that period of time between Christmas and New Year's, and we went to see the pyramids at Chichen Itza and Tulum. I just got to preface this by saying, I wasn't watching Star Trek or anything like that. I just started watching Deep Space Nine about 5 years ago. It's my favorite. I know people go, that's not really Star Trek.
True, I
But
love
anyway,
it.
Was it worth
for you.
it? Was it worth it?
I love it. But the thing is that I set that up because I don't, the stuff that I was experiencing,
Mm-hmm.
you could say, oh man, you saw that on TV, but this was before I was even there.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
and we went to Chichen Itza and Tulum, flew back to JFK. I mean, I don't know how the Mayans, got all this information. It was just a wonderful energy. It was around the pyramids, what have you. A friend of mine invited me, who lived in Hell's Kitchen, invited me to a little gathering. My girlfriend at the time said, obviously it was cold. She said, I'm staying home. I caught the subway down to Hell's Kitchen and hung out. And I kind of wanted to gloat because my friends there were freezing their you-know-what off. And I was kind of tanned and it was like 90 degrees.
Yeah.
I wanted to gloat. They were freezing. So I got off. I was in Times Square. We hung out. No adult beverages. Deviled eggs. I'm a deviled egg freak. I
Yum.
loved it.
Good.
And so, and I went back home. And to this day, I don't know whether I had to just get up and go to the bathroom, but I sensed something, or an energy in the room. When I turned around, because I sleep on my stomach, there was a being who looked like this.
I love it.
But
mother
a friend of mine made this for me, but he didn't have the Buddha robe on. I had this made.
Right.
I guess I'm saying he. It could have been a she. It was a person, and they had this. It was like a Reynolds wrap. It was a suit. It was, was made of Reynolds wrap. It looked like, and they were about 4 feet tall, tops. I thought my heart was going to come out of my chest. Sandy would not or could not wake up. And this being had around it a blue light, like a deep cobalt blue light. And around that was just this white light. My whole room was lit up like Times Square. And this was on the Upper West Side of Manhattan. This wasn't in a rural area like Betty or Barney Hill.
Right.
I mean, this was like, my God. So,
which is amazing. Like, they don't care who sees.
I'm telling you.
In Manhattan, everybody's looking straight. No one's looking up.
Well, Manhattan is Manhattan. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I've been there.
Who knows? So I'm in the Excelsior Hotel. We lived in a residential hotel, 45 West 81st Street. It's still there across from the planetarium. I was so afraid. I cannot tell you. And I pulled the covers up over my head and went into the fetal position. Mm-hmm. And I heard this, this sound like the wind, like whoosh, but it was like I was outside. The temperature changed. It was like I was outside, but I'm on the 15th floor of this building. So my mind is trying to wrap my mind. And when I pulled the covers down, nobody was there.
Isn't that great when that happens? I know.
And so, Sandy woke up And, she's a very understanding woman of her. She didn't say, what are you, some kind of nut? She just said, okay, so tell me what happened. And so every new and full moon for about 6 or 8 months, these folks would come and I would be paralyzed, and they would show me pictures in my head. One, I'm sure was a past life, and they would show me like some things they were getting ready to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I told a friend of mine about it who was an astrologer. I mean, I was a wreck. I wasn't sleeping at night. I mean, I'm 65 years old, and I'm just getting where how can I say, I turn the lights on. I used to stay up till the last minute to turn the lights on, as if the light on would keep them from coming. But it was like post, but it was scary.
Yeah.
And they would always come when Sandy wasn't there, except for that one time. So a friend of mine who was an astrologer, I told her about it, and she told me to catch the subway down to Alphabet City. And she said there's a mural like at 10th Street and 8th and 4th Avenue. She said, look and tell me if what you see on this mural is what you saw. And it was a picture of a very chalkish colored gray. So I knew I wasn't crazy. Well, I didn't know, but it helped. And so I went, Dr. Gene Mundy regressed me. Later, Bud Hopkins. So I was holding on to my sanity. And then it just kept going. There were years in between, but I wound up seeing the gentleman there that I showed you on 2 occasions. I saw the reptilian people.
That's interesting too. How was that experience?
They freaked me out.
Yeah, the reptilians. How was that?
And then in July 4th. And Preston will know this. July 4th, 2013, I had a visit by these blonde people who gave me a healing. I had a blood clot. And the first person I called was Preston. So Preston was gone. Preston wasn't home. But we Preston. And he put it in his book. Because, it was at 20 minutes. It was 10 of 10 my time. So it's about 10 of 7 when I called Preston. And he just, it was in LA. In California.
Sure.
So anyway, so they come, they stop, they come again. It changed my life. It changed my religious beliefs, definitely.
Oh, yeah.
So, ask me some questions and we'll move on from there. But I had the blood clot. Preston said, talk about the healing. I had a blood clot. And it was like 2013 was like a country western or a blues song. I was getting divorced, so I was leaving my wife. I lost my job and my dad died. I mean, it was
that's a whole gambit.
It was crazy. And I had a blood clot. And it was from my right leg up the ankles to the groin area. And I didn't know, I never had a blood clot. I thought maybe I pulled a muscle, I would put Reiki on it, it would heal, the energy would keep the pain away and then it would come back. And my ex-wife, Sandy, who I'm still very close to, she said, you didn't listen when you were married, but you shouldn't be in pain for 3 days like that. You should not be in pain. So I went to a doctor, my primary. He said, did you drive here? I said, yeah. He said, can you drive yourself to get an ultrasound? Because this is life-threatening.
Wow.
And I remember, because men are big babies, I remember saying, will it hurt?
Will it hurt?
Probably.
I said, it's going to ruin my day. He said, oh, yeah.
But you're going to live through it.
So July 4th, 2013, at 10 minutes to 9, there's a backstory. I'll give it to you real quick. I have a lot of friends who fought in Vietnam. And so some of them talk about the war, some of them don't, but they're really scarred from it, which you can imagine. Absolutely. And one day they were telling me about, trying to go to sleep in their foxholes, and there's incoming and outgoing artillery and sleeping in mud. But, and so on July 4th, 2013, I thought about them because there were thunderstorms here and they canceled the 4th of July fireworks. I was so happy because my ex, not this ex, but she and my daughter, they love fireworks. I can't stand it.
Right.
And so they canceled it. I was so happy I didn't have to go. And so it was 10 of 10, Preston's time, it was, and again, sleeping on my stomach, I was trying to nod off. I turned around and this guy was there, but he had a hoodie, not a hoodie, you know what I mean,
It's like
a
a robe
cowl,
with a,
cowl,
okay.
and he was ripped. Like the reptilians, like they have a gym on the ship or something. I don't know, but this brother, you could see his muscles coming through,
Wow.
and I was like, whoa! And I mean, in my mind, I mean, my heart was beating, and you could see the blonde, but he was, you know, you could see he was humanoid. He looked more human than this brother did. So
Right.
he held his hand out, and this apple green light hit me in my stomach. Because by that time I was sitting up in the bed, and I didn't feel it, but I saw it. And he just dissolved. His molecules just kind of separated. He had a belt that was with a rope, and real blue eyes. He was as tall as my ceiling, which is about 8 feet, I guess.
That's amazing.
And so when I got hit, I called Preston. Even before I called my ex-wife and my daughter, I called Preston. I said,
I
Preston,
love it.
because I looked at my legs. I
Yeah.
looked at my legs, and the blood clot was gone. My legs were normal.
I'd call Preston and Dolly all day.
And I called Preston, he was there. And then I called them. And when I showed it to them the next day, and of course I was up all night because when they come, I have so much energy.
Right.
And they both, my ex and my daughter, they gasped. They were like, they did it at the same time, like they rehearsed it. They said, my God, they healed your leg. The big thing was I had to go to the doctor. And I couldn't tell the doctor the story that I'm telling you.
No.
Not unless you want to be locked up.
They would have locked me up. And so they kept saying, well, wait a minute, you were just here 10 days ago. We pricked your finger. We said, I said the medicine worked. They said, no, it doesn't work that fast. So anyway, what I did was finally, I said to them, look, you're men of science. I can't explain it. You can't explain it. I said, aren't you happy? Aren't you be happy for me?
It's a miracle.
And they just kind of went back. They were like, whoa. And
they're dumbfounded.
I said, aren't you happy? And they said, of course we're happy, Mr. Carter. We just can't explain. How did this happen? So that was that story.
Right. That is phenomenal.
That's amazing.
How did you feel about, I have to say with the reptilians, because it's 50-50. Some people have good experiences. Some people don't have good experiences.
Yeah. But you know what? And I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
I did not have a bad experience. Again, when you see these people, they walk through your wall. The only thing he said to me, his mouth didn't move. It's like I had speakers in my ears. They just they do it with their minds. Telepathy. Yeah. He just said, "Don't be afraid," and he touched me. But he was big. He had a tail. He was and this is what it is. He had a wife beater on. He had like a tank top.
Oh, Jesus, that's funny. Really?
He had a tank top on.
That is amazing.
And he said, "Don't be afraid." And he just looked at me. Now, looking back, he was gorgeous. His eyes were like the yellow, but their pupils go,
slit.
Yeah, vertical.
Like a cat. Yeah. But then he wasn't so beautiful. Right. And so they're all beautiful, weeks after. Yes. But then, but yeah. So, but, they get a bad rap. It's like human beings, we stereotype everybody. Of course. Nobody's all bad. Okay. I know people who've seen grays, who've taken sperm and anal probes and all that. They didn't do that to me. At least in hypnosis, it didn't come up. Right. So, I try not to be too judgy. Right. Were you nervous about the thought of being hypnotized and really, like, it's one thing to suspect. It's one thing to have your experiences. I mean, I've seen them right beside me going, nope, roll over. Let's just go to bed. I'll see you later. Yeah, but if I had to get hypnotized and get all the details in the middle. I got regressed. I got by Dr. Jean Mundy. I found her name in the back of a book called Encounters.
Right.
Wow.
Which I have over here somewhere. I forget the author's name. And then Bud, when he was alive, Bud and I spoke at a conference together, and Bud regressed me twice. And they were both very good. And they helped me hang on to my sanity.
Right.
I know hypnosis is controversial, at least it was, because people can lead you. But this was real. And I didn't remember being taken on a craft, but obviously it happened because that's why I was feeling like I was cold. Remember, I said I felt like I was outside for a minute. But, for me, it changed my life for the better, even though I was afraid those times. And the times after, because it's just the suddenness of how they appear, and some of them
it's
are bizarre.
invasive in a
Some
way.
of them are bizarre looking people, but they're still people. They're sentient beings.
I love
And
that you say that.
Well, they are.
I know, because people will
They're
just say
people.
they're
Some of them have
species, or
families,
they're. No, I love it. You're humanizing it in a
some of
sense.
them have families, man. I mean, they're people.
Yes.
So,
yes.
but it just opened myself up to more love. Now I was studying, I was meditating, I was doing my part. I don't want to make it seem like they wave a magic wand and voila. I mean, I had to do the footwork, but they kind of accelerated it. And I'm Preston knows too. People know all the experience. So my hair started growing faster. I felt more intelligent. I didn't need as much sleep. All of a sudden, I had to do energy work. I never thought about that stuff. But it, leading me, and it also led me away from, it brought my mind about religions and stuff like that.
Right.
I never was a very religious person, except when I was a kid. And that's why I love the Unitarian Church, because I can say that and still be a minister there.
Right.
It changed me. It just made me look at my fears. It made me look at my fears because I was not sleeping, and even now, once in a while, I get a little nervous if I'm home alone and I go to sleep. But these folks, like a friend of mine said, they said, Michael, outside of that, and one time they did something to hurt me, but it was by mistake, and they listened to me when I told these individuals not to. It was the grayish looking people. I'm just more loving.
Right.
And so it made me look at other places in my life where I let fear, whether it was how a person looked or the unknown, it made me look at that because my life got better. And so I had to look at, well, what's really the fear here? And I was in therapy and stuff like that. That helped a lot too. But, and so I said, well, you have to learn to walk through your fears. And you have to learn to look at your fears, because these folks never did anything. They weren't evil. They didn't hurt me. One time they stuck a needle in my head and it hurt. And I asked them to stop. And they did. But they loved me.
Right.
And I loved them.
Right.
And I try to walk my talk and open up spiritually, and it changed me in a lot of ways for the better.
Okay, well, here's a question along those lines of your visit.
Brother Mallow.
Yeah, can you get him?
Wayne Mallows. Yeah. Hi, Wayne. Michael, do you feel that perhaps these beings contacted you because they had some idea that you would be a good advocate for these beings and being able to convey this gently to the rest of us?
Wow. That's a powerful insight and a powerful question. The answer is yes. I look, again, remember Kierkegaard, lived forward, understood backwards. Right. I had a psychic tell me that I had been with them in other lifetimes, but also that it was not a contract, but there was some agreement. Now, for those people who don't believe in psychics and all that, I'll put it this way. It's like a mission. I believe that, not in a grandiose way, I'm a big shot or righteous, but listen, I chose to be a man of color this lifetime. Okay. So I kind of know what it's like to be marginalized, right? And so the diversity work that I'm doing now, in other lifetimes, I was probably gay or a white man or I mean, all the monads.
You're just experiencing everything. Yes.
Yeah, that's my belief.
Right, I agree.
But this lifetime, I'm brown. I was probably brown in other lifetimes too. So my point being is that I kind of know what that's like. And so the diversity work and anti-racism work, the diversity work that I'm doing, I'm just extending it to intergalactic. It's not just trying to bring Earth folk together and get over hair texture and all that stuff. I'm saying that we got to take it. You got to bring your A game.
That's right.
Because we're not alone.
That's right.
And they don't have time for that kind of foolishness.
No.
So, and to answer Brother Mallow, now looking at it, yeah. And I'm a minister. There are not many ministers talking about it. I hope they do. I'm a minister. I have a church. I'm talking about it. I'm an experiencer. And so I'm a good candidate to talk about it. And so that's what I'm doing.
I'm doing a great job also. Just saying.
Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
All those books.
But I have a good time. I live my life, but I carry on. I'm in the bar sometimes and I got good friends and, I like a good party every now and then or whatever. Right? I like good food, good one. I'm real, but your spiritual life is the most important thing. Because that's what's going to transform the world. That's what's going to raise the frequency. And because like what y'all are doing is like a ministry. What Preston does to me, you just have to broaden your sense of what ministry doesn't mean you have to be in a church or a mosque or whatever. You're using your platform. Hey, Natalie. Yeah, I do think they wanted me to become a healer. I think I was a healer in another life too, but I didn't start getting into it until they started visiting. So they probably kind of nudged me, you'd be good doing this. So
yeah, because we're never allowed to remember anything when we come back here. So somebody's got to remind us.
Yeah, I mean, maybe when you're young, but they get it out of you. Natalie's a good friend, and she's a healer too. You should talk to her. But
I know we shall.
Hi, Natalie.
But they yeah, you do what you can to raise the vibration. That's the best way I can put it. That's the only way I can put it. I don't know what else to do, especially now, because I mean, human beings, we can zig or we could zag, and we got to pull it together. Otherwise, we're going to kill each other. So we're all here trying to raise the vibration, and
it's all about raising the vibration.
It's Christmas time is coming. I love it.
It's just
Christmas is my favorite time of year. I'm very odd on this network.
No, yeah.
What do you think with all of this disclosure? Do you think we're looking at false flags and things of that nature?
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
This is what I think, and this is what I feel, because sometimes they're two different things. I feel that our government, let me be clear here. It's almost like the country, you know what I mean?
Sure.
Even though we are screwed up sometimes, there are people still coming to America because they think it's the greatest country in the world and there's more opportunity here. So I want to be clear, because sometimes we can beat up on the country so much, but there are good things about America. Okay.
Of course,
so I just want to put that in. It's easy to forget.
Right.
It's easy to forget that I can talk like this and no one's going to pull me up and say, okay, comrade, and then you don't hear from me anymore.
Right.
Now that may happen later, but there are good things about here. People are coming here right now as we speak, because I think our government, I believe Eisenhower signed this treaty, the Grenada Treaty. I think, I think they were doing the best they can. I'm not talking about people who were killed, because they knew too much and all that. That is unacceptable. Right. I would not want to have made that decision, but it is a decision. So if that is true, here we are. And our government, Victor Hugo said, no lie lives forever. And so I think that there's a little more transparency, not as much as we'd like, but they want to be ahead of the narrative. Because if you can control the narrative, you could still control the story. Because one day somebody's going to take this phone and they're going to take a picture of something or film something that you can't refute. It may be a brother or sister getting out of a craft. It's going to be something that you can. And so they know that can happen. Greater minds than mine.
Right.
So how do we get out in front of this? So now they're feeding us a little. There's always disinformation.
Right.
You know, it's like a stereotype. Stereotypes, there's always some truth in it.
Right. Agreed.
Well, with this, there's always some truth, and you wrap it up in an enigma. So you've gotta trust your gut. You gotta not take everything people say at face value, and you gotta go really about what resonates with you.
Should they just
and
get
I
rid
think
of the
that's
fear?
why I wrote my book about the transformation of the experiencer.
Right.
I think experiencers, we can spearhead. See, no one's really coming to talk to us, except I'm not talking about you ladies, of course you do, but I mean, and your experiences, but I'm talking about basically they're talking to folks who haven't had the experience.
Right.
And we can help guide them. We can help tell them. John Mack has been, when he was alive, was trying to tell people this. And so I think as we go forward deeper, and that experiencers will have more of a say. I know for a fact that there's a lot of movies coming out, documentaries, things on Netflix and what have you, that are more experiencer centered. I think we'll be seeing more of that next year. So we'll see where it takes us. But it's
so basically lose the fear.
It's here.
That's propaganda.
I don't know if you can lose it, but I mean, remember, courage is not having any fear. Courage is moving on despite the fear.
Right. Because I mean, this is conditioning too, with religious belief systems. And I mean, people just don't really know which end is up in some ways. I mean, it's good. Like I said, if you have an open mind, it's great. But all it takes is that experience, like having experiences now in life. I realize, I'm like, no, this has actually been happening to me, much like yourself, since I was small. Like now I realize, no, it wasn't this. It was actually this. It wasn't paranormal. It was actually this.
Yeah, no, Michelle, I agree. I think now this is the minister in me talking. I think as we grow spiritually, I think we're going to have more compassion, love, whatever you want to call it, with people who are afraid. That means our governments. I mean, I'm not talking about being stupid and kumbaya. I'm just saying that when people are afraid, they do crazy things. And most of the stuff that's been happening is that our government was afraid of this unknown. We couldn't protect our airspace. When I look at the Grenada Treaty, again, if Eisenhower did this, so he gets this proposition, right? He gets it from these blonde, blue-eyed folk who say, look, you got to dial it back on the atom, exploding the atom. This is, you don't know what you got to dial that back. And what we'll do is we'll help you grow spiritual. And then maybe you get the toys. Who knows? I don't know. I just added that in. But it was the spiritual growth versus the spiritual. And this group of grays, not all grays, ladies and gentlemen.
Right.
A group of grays said, hey, we don't care. And Eisenhower said, how can I tell you no? You're so advanced. And we'll give you technology. We'll take people. We'll give you their names and stuff. We'll return them. But that's the age-old dilemma. Do I follow the spiritual path, knowing that all things will be added to me, or do I do the material path, which is power and money and weapons? And we all do. We all have to make that choice. Eisenhower had to make the choice as president, leader of the free world. Okay, I'm not being apologetic. I'm just saying I'm glad I didn't have to make that decision.
I agreed.
So we're experiencing the effects of that decision.
Most wars are started out of fear of what the other country may have, fear of the control of the other country, fear of being controlled.
Well, of course, the Miracles tells us there's two emotions. It's love or fear.
Yes.
Well, Joe says the same thing. Joe says how the government then has to explain to their people that they've been aware that you've been getting taken and that they've allowed it.
Yes.
That's the lies built up.
the lies build up. That's why Mark Twain said, it's always better to tell the truth, because then you don't have to remember anything.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a tough one. It is a tough one.
It is, because I when I was younger, I was like, oh, this is right and this is wrong, and life was easier then, and I was very self-righteous and full of myself, and I had all the answers. Now, again, it doesn't excuse, because people lost their lives.
Right.
We assassinated people. I mean, we did not so nice things.
Right.
And that's gone. I mean, that chances go round. There's karmic. I mean, that will get worked out, but we can't do anything about that now. We can come clean, but in the meantime, I get it. With Kennedy and Bobby and John and Marilyn and telling these secrets, and it gets messy. It's messy being a human being.
Yeah, they never did tell their secrets, though, Reverend. They had them all blacked out, even when the files were legally released.
Well, but I mean, sharing of it. I mean, Marilyn was over her head. I mean, when you're in that high,
well, they shared way too much with her.
You're playing hardball.
Yeah,
this is not a game.
Her mistake was using it as a threat.
And Kennedy wanted to come clean, and other people, and that just couldn't happen. James Forrestal. James Forrestal, okay?
Right.
They said he jumped out of a window. Well, maybe people helped him, but he wanted to come clean. But it just builds on itself. And so here we are in 2023, 2022. And so we got a chance here. And I'm talking about the collective we, because we're all tied in it. If the ship goes down, we all go down.
Right.
That maybe we can make some different choices, and that's and maybe we will. But you and I can make different choices in the way we treat each other,
right?
And the way we interact with each other, and the way we learn to love each other. And so for me, that's more important.
Right. I think it's a great way to look at things. It's a great way to reach that message out, push that out to people. I think, and especially what we've been going through in the last couple of years, I think it's a message that a lot of people can really use, because there's so much in the media that's being pumped out. You've got Ukraine, you've got people being sick, you've got people passing. That's what I mean. There's just so much.
It's a lot.
It's nice to have something more lighthearted coming out to the public. And I think people tend to fall back on some of their favorite programs, and look for positive messages, because sometimes that's the only way it comes in. You can't always find it on social media, unfortunately. I also got a question here for you.
Well, unless you're watching TikTok videos of Italian grandmothers cooking, that's a lot of fun.
That's fun.
I watch that for hours. Natalie Olson asks, hi, Natalie, how will this change religion?
Oh, it already is. It will in innumerable ways. I remember, and I've been thinking about this a lot. I remember when people would say, can I be a Christian? And I'm not a Christian anymore, but people would say, can you be a Christian and believe in extraterrestrials? And I would say, yeah, you can, but you would have to think through your faith. And a lot of people don't think through their faith. It's just, well, my mom was Episcopalian, so I'm Episcopalian. And for me, Jesus is my brother.
Right.
And I'm going to preach a Christmas Eve sermon but it's more universal for me now. But I had to. It changed me. And I can hear my evangelical friends going, "See, it's the devil. You don't belong to believe anymore." But it wasn't that. It was just that I just knew that there were other paths.
Yes.
And so, what it does for religion, Natalie, is it removes. You don't need. One of the things it does is you don't need a priest, an imam, a rabbi, or what have you, to connect with all that is. It will also take it away from there's a man or anthropomorphic being in the sky. Right. Because even data and stories, whether you're talking about Billy Meyer or Georgia, that this God, and I don't even like to use the word that much, but I do use it because it's there, and that this is an energy. This is not a human being. This is not Santa Claus punishing you if you're naughty or nice. This is an
No, it's
energy.
Krampus.
This is an intelligence. And any God that you can name is not God, because the finite can never comprehend not unless you, at least not while you're in the body.
Right.
And so it changes that this energy is all around. It's in me, it's in you, it's in the plants, the trees. That's a very different, our indigenous brothers and sisters knew about this.
Yes.
But Western Christianity has said that this is a man, that he's angry,
right,
and that you're going to get punished.
Right.
So it changes the game. And if you're going to be a Christian, and someone said you can call it the force, you can call it the primal cause. It doesn't matter what you call it.
Right.
It just matters that you know it's there.
Right.
But if you're going to say you're a Christian, then you got to say, okay. One of the things you have to say is, did Jesus die for extraterrestrials as well, or was this just for Earthlings? Because supposedly he died because for people who were sons and daughters of Adam. Well, these extraterrestrials aren't. And I'm not trying to be funny. I'm just and if he did this, so does he have to go to every planet and die?
That's a whole other.
Does he have to go to every planet and die?
Yeah, because
Savior for the Palladians or for the Arcturians. I mean, and these are things you have, or is it just for Earth? Is Christianity more of an Earth-based religion? And so it'll make you start thinking about wait a minute, does this really make sense? Or what is it I believe?
Right.
And that's always good to think through, because you may believe what the God I believed in at 22 is a very different one. I'm using that word, but I don't.
Yeah.
At 65, I'm a different person now.
Yeah.
And so those are the things, and everybody has to do that on their own. Nobody can do it for you. But it will change. That's why, listen, if I say there's a God in me, that's what got Jesus in trouble. A couple other things.
Right.
But he said that the kingdom of heaven is within me, not out there. Well, that kind of talk could get you hurt. Even today.
You're not wrong.
Okay?
True.
Even today.
Even today.
I mean, I'm down here in the Bible Belt. Okay. And so, but it could get you hurt 2,000 years ago. So it will change religion. The religions that will do well, Hinduism, Buddhism, Catholicism, most of the Eastern religions. Why? I'm glad you asked. Because they make room for other deities. There are different gods and goddesses in Hinduism. There are other deities. Okay, right. In Buddhism, you got Kuan Yin, you got other Catholicism. There's Saint this one, Saint that one. There's this, they make room. Christianity says there's one God and there's the Holy Spirit and there's the Trinity. Right. They're going to have to think through some stuff.
Right. Oh, I agree. I think it's also people having to reach within themselves and start thinking for themselves, because I mean, a lot of religion fear or instills fear. You don't have the right to do this,
it does.
And it shouldn't be. Fear shouldn't be instilled. It should only be love. And
I don't want. No, Michelle, I'm with you. I in an ideal world, I don't want to shit all over people. In an ideal world, but the messages got different. If Buddha and Jesus and these folk came back, Joan of Arc, they would say, "This is not what I had in mind."
No, exactly.
This is not what I had in mind.
Where was I when it did? When it changed,
And so, because it's used to control and it's used politically, and so it's a hot mess.
Yeah, I definitely.
It's a hot mess.
I agree with you.
But there's hope. I mean, because listen, Dr. King was very religious. Gandhi was very religious. So there's good in religion. Please, I don't want to bashing. Sure. I'm just saying, but powers that be, once human beings get into it and they get a little power and they get a little control, it becomes a whole different message.
No, it's again, that's human error. That's humanity. You did what made you decide to write Initiation, the Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer?
Thank you. Yes. You know what? I sometimes people will call me if they see me on Ancient Aliens or they see at a conference and they want to talk about religion, or some of them want to know, I think I've had an experience, but I'm not sure.
Mm.
And so I just said, wow, I need to talk about this. Talking about, I've been very fortunate. My marriages broke up. Thank you, Shayna. My marriages broke up not because of that. They broke up for other things. But, there's data that shows that if you got a partner who's having these experiences and you're not, usually these relationships don't last.
Mm.
Because you're growing, you're changing, you are, or your partner is, you're hanging out with new people, there are different experiences, and if you got to have a strong ego to be a part of that, because it can be threatening.
Mm-hmm.
And you're growing. I mean, you got people who are Wall Street and they have these experiences. All of a sudden now they want to be healers. All of a sudden now, I'm going to go and I'm going to go join the Red Cross. And I mean, these transformations occur,
mm-hmm.
and it can be challenging for a relationship. That's one thing. And it is an initiation because you're kind of drawn out from a group. It's like my friends who fought in Vietnam, vets, people who've seen combat. I'm not comparing the two, but it's the experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
If I'm a vet, I can talk to you about what I went through, but unless you're another vet and you've had somebody fire a shot at you in anger, you really don't get it. You got to be there. Well, I think in a more positive way, and there are people out here who've had bad experiences, and I want to acknowledge that. I'm not saying people don't.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying that there are people who've had different experiences, and those experiences are valid, and they can be life-changing, like NDEs, like, out-of-body experiences, and contacts. But you don't have to have, I know someone who had a transformational experience jogging in San Francisco and watched the sun come up and experience this oneness and just couldn't explain it, and it changed their whole life. So you don't have to be taken in a craft or die and come back and talk about it. I mean, there are many ways this can happen, but once it happens, you're just never the same person.
I can attest to that.
Yeah,
I don't have the type of memories you have, but
that's why I wrote the book.
Yeah, what I have had was pretty much like, okay, it does change you.
If you allow it, I'll put it like that. If you allow it, because the fear can be, who am I going to tell about this? How can I mean, I had to live with that, like you probably did. I can only tell certain people. I remember bringing it up to someone when I was going to become a minister. And they said to me, another minister said, Michael, I believe what you say is true. I believe you believe it. But if you want to have a church in this denomination, you must never tell that story again. I had someone tell me that.
And see, I was advised, just go out and tell the world. Just tell. I've talked about my experiences on the show, just like, like we bring people on, and just because of just send out the message. I felt better once I did.
Yeah.
But, there's still some things that, it seemed surreal, even, to me. Here's another question.
Oh, Dolly asked, hello, Dolly.
Dolly's
can't not say hello, Dolly.
Yes. Hello, Dolly.
Did your contact experiences? I always want to sing when I see her name. Did your contact experiences send you a message?
Yeah, I've been talking about it since we've been on the air. That love is the frequency, and that's what I want to be clear. This is not sexy. People have died bringing this message. People have been trying to bring this message for millennia. That the greatest illusion that we live is the illusion of separation.
Right.
Okay?
Yeah.
We worry about who you sleep with, what color you are. This means nothing.
Right.
And so we believe that if I get something, then you don't have enough of. That's the illusion of separation. And so we need to raise our frequency. We do it when you meditate, when you spend time in nature, when you pray. There are many ways to use this spiritual technology, but that is the message.
Right.
That's the message. The message is that the world is held together by very few people, and it's about learning to love. That we're here to get past the illusion that I'm separate from you.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
That I'm separate from you. That we are one. We are one. We're there's unity in our diversity. Mm-hmm. And the same source that we came from, we will go back to. But that's what I got. And they didn't sit down and say it like this. They let me discover it. But that's the message. It's boring. Oh man, I heard that before. Yeah, but how's it working out for you?
Well, you have to believe it. For me, it was servitude.
Well, you got to live it.
Yeah. To me, it was servitude. Help, move forward, serve others. Don't serve yourself.
Yeah.
And that's something that you have to live it.
That's the message. And that will always be the message. And so you got to live it.
Right. And here, I was tinkering around with a piece of technology at one point. I test a lot of equipment. And this is the exact same message, word for word, that I got when I asked, who are you that I was speaking to? And they said, we are you, you are us, we're one. Exactly word for word. And I was like, all righty, that pretty much sums it up.
Yeah. I mean, it's real simple in that way, but we've just been so programmed, and it's just fear. It's just fear. And I don't say just to make it trivial. Fear is a big deal, but you can learn to walk through it, and you can learn to make it work for you. If I were tonight, I would go home. I mean, I am home. I go have a little glass of wine, maybe watch a game or something before I go to bed, before I go to church in the morning. And I could get a visit tonight, and it will frighten me, because if it comes the usual way, it's just going to be a light, and then there's going to be someone there.
And that's intrusive in a way, isn't it? Like it's just in your space where you're supposed to feel safe.
Well,
that's what I can't get over.
How else are they going to do it?
I don't know, man. How about catch me when I'm on a walk in the woods or something?
You know what? You haven't been to Manhattan, Michelle. For all you know, they're walking amongst them all in Times Square, because nothing is weird in Times Square.
Yeah, I mean, you can't have the table set.
Don't come in my boudoir when I'm by myself. I'm supposed to feel safe and snuggled in.
Well, maybe you can feel safe anywhere now.
No,
but my point being is this.
Yeah.
They will come.
Yes.
I will be afraid. Maybe not as afraid, but I will be. But I will deal with it.
Afraid, fear, or startled, Reverend?
It will still be a fear. It will still be, for me, it will
fair.
be.
Yeah, I'm afraid.
Because maybe it's a different brother or sister this time. Maybe they look alike, but maybe they're different. And maybe, if you get on a ship and all of a sudden you're looking down and your house is this big or whatever, that's a little fearful. I'm sorry.
It is. No, it is.
I want to go back home. I got to work tomorrow. I'm afraid.
I'm very afraid.
I'm just saying.
Yeah, I'm very afraid.
So, but so, it's okay as long as it doesn't, as long as it doesn't keep you from living the life, your best life.
Right. I agree.
That's all I'm saying. I'm not, I know there's some things you need to be afraid of, but like my friends in Vietnam, you hear a machine gun go, you're afraid.
You're afraid.
Absolutely.
You're startled and you're afraid, but
absolutely.
You're ignored. So my point being, and I'm not trying to make it seem like war, but I'm just saying, because you want to have realistic expectations. It's okay to be afraid. It's just not to let it freeze you so that you can't be in your experience. Well, I don't care whether it's with extraterrestrials or with your daughter or with, talking about politics at Thanksgiving, you've got to be able to deal with the fear, and then you can go on.
Right.
So it's safe to say a lot of experiencers could have PTSD and not even realize that it's from them.
Yes, you can. You can, because you can adapt. I mean, I have it. I mean, I'm much better, but it took me 20 years to be able to turn the light out in my room at night.
And you're aware of it. If they're not aware of it, they may not know why they have PTSD.
That's true. That's true. Someone was just saying something about psychic abilities. Yeah, there you go, Preston.
Yeah, that was Dolly. Yeah, Preston's chiming in there. Same brain.
Yeah, psychic abilities, were enhanced.
Yeah.
I just want to say something about psychic abilities.
Okay, let me put this one back up. We'll come back to Preston. There we go.
I'm going to listen to Preston because
Preston hit the nail on the head. Yeah.
I'm petrified.
Okay,
so
put Preston back up. Okay, hold on. I'm trying to keep up.
Yeah, Preston, I'm going to read it out for those that are listening and not watching. Preston Dennett, hi Preston, says facing fear makes you stronger. Just don't let fear be your guiding force. Let love be your guiding force.
Yeah. And love means different things to different people. So, you can unpack that however one will.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to say this. When I first started having these experiences, and I was already intuitive, it runs in the family, and most human beings are to a greater or lesser degree. I'll just say it this way. You don't want to mistake spirituality for psychic ability.
Right.
Those are two very different things. I know people who are healers. I know people who are psychics. You couldn't pay me to go to them because their energy is just screwed up. Okay. Yeah. And you can get into the glamour of it, but those are things that can come as you develop more spiritually, but don't mistake that because the ego wants to do that.
Right.
People need you. You're seeing things. Let me give you this advice, and you're getting a little money for it now and then. But don't mistake that for true spirituality. Those are some of the gifts and tools that can develop from it.
Right.
Yeah. Sorry. No, you.
No, I was just going to go on to the book again. If you have something you want to add to it.
Oh, I was just going to say that with those gifts, ego is always in the way. It's something that you have to fight. And when you can get through it, then you can be more helpful. When you see it as a service that you're meant to do, it's a different kind of feeling.
Yeah. It's a calling.
Yeah. And you're not always your human side, which I've experienced more than once, is like, oh my gosh, like I just need a minute. It's not always that you're like, here, let me give you this message, here, let you give the message that you need to give. But there, for me, how can I put this without, for me, if you're going to ask me a question about a boyfriend or real estate or something like that, I will not respond to that. I'm here only to help. I don't, you know what I mean? I'm not that person that does that kind of reading. Our work is so different. And I think it's important. And those who have to do it to make a living, they have to do it. That's fine too.
There's someone for everyone.
It's exhausting.
As I say, people have different needs. People have different, they just need something different, know? So when you sat down and started putting this book together, because all these people started coming to you and saying, okay, help us get through this. I think we've had an experience. Have you felt that the book has helped people? Like, is there any specific story that stands out for you that really made you say, okay, that's it. I really have to put this in writing. This has got to be something that's going to help people.
It's a great, Michelle, I will say this. I need to push the book more, and I'm glad you're making me focus more on the book, because the most of the people were still into the Bible one. That was the one that still sells the most. Alien Scriptures.
Oh, that would be a whole other show.
Yeah. But no, I'm not saying it for that purpose. But then
I am.
It's like human beings.
We're booking you now.
Like if I'm real good throwing with my right hand instead of practicing with my left, I keep going with my right. That's my good one.
Of course.
So, but no, people have come to me and have said the book has helped me a lot. It has helped. It's like a handbook for experiences. It's helped. I'm not an experiencer, they'll say, but my daughter is, or whatever. It's been more of a catalyst in that way, if you will. The thing that I think people stumble with, that's not the right word, is that the spiritual transformation, you'll have to let go of some old ways of being and thinking. And that's why I was saying about the Christian piece. You could be a Muslim, you could be, it was just that I'm not saying everybody, the narrative of the Christian, Jesus is my brother, I'm going to be speaking about him, which I do.
Right.
And I got some statues of him meditating and that kind of thing. But it made me also have to look at his message is very different from Christianity.
Mm-hmm.
It is.
And he wasn't a Christian. He was a Jew. Paul started Christianity.
It's hard to
And
explain that.
he was a Roman Jew. He was a citizen
Yes.
of Rome.
Mm-hmm.
So, and with the dogma, and if you don't do it this way and that way, and I had to get rid of that. I had to, and that changed me. And then I went a step further by saying that this man is one of many saints and avatars and just enlightened folks that came here, tried to show us a better way, a different way to be civilized, and moved on. Some of them left their bodies with help from other people, usually murder, and some people, and then, so what happened was that Christianity for me became one of many paths that one could walk. And I find I have some evangelicals in my family. We don't talk about this much. I can respect what they believe, but it's hard for them to respect what I believe. But the fear was for them that Christianity is one in a long line of paths. There are older beliefs, paganism, much older. What was pagan holiday? We're getting Christmas trees and all that, and so that's scary to them. There's the fear thing, because usually when you are sure of something, or at least you don't have to force it on other people.
This is true.
You don't have. You got to believe it the way I believe it,
right?
Or else you're going to go. Usually that doesn't work. I don't care whether you're Muslim or what have you.
Right.
And but most people are wrestling with that there's a uniqueness in Western culture with Jesus, because we're born here in the West. But if I was born in Tibet, I'd probably be Buddhist or with Islam or whatever part of the world. And that story still works. Let me tell you, I'm at a Unitarian church. Now, some of us, we have some Christian churches, we have some humanistic churches. My church is very eclectic. I got Jewish people sitting next to Muslims, sitting next to witches, sitting next to, and I love it because that's the way the world is.
Right.
But I tell you, every Christmas Eve and every Easter, that church is packed. Packed. Okay.
Right.
And because the way I present the story is that there's something in that Jesus story about his birth and even his death that can touch everybody.
Right.
For instance, a child, last week we just had the birth of somebody gave birth and we had 8 billion people. Now we have 8
That's
billion.
right. Number 8 billion. Yes.
But so the birth of a child is precious, no matter whether you were born in Bethlehem or Brooklyn,
right,
or Kandahar,
right,
or New Orleans. So there's something in that story, okay? And all of us, okay, Jesus is born. He's special. Herod and some other folks, they're threatened by this child. This child is threatening. Well, when you were born and you were special and you started thinking in different ways, you were a threat. Don't come in here thinking like that. Where'd you get a story like that? No, we can't have that.
That's true.
You're changing the order. Okay? You're changing the order now. We are the old order is being threatened. You're coming in with new ideas. You're coming in. Okay, so you start seeing these things. And then
right,
you find out who you really are, like Jesus did.
Right.
He finds out who he really is. So it's a journey that we all take. You can be an atheist in that story. Okay, and that story can touch you. Okay, and you're threatening to the new order. And then you go through all these experiences. Jesus may have been in India, so he leaves at 13. You don't hear from him again until he comes back. I'm not saying he was, but I'm just in my belief he was. But okay, so then you come up, you go through your adolescence, and then you have an experience, and then Amelia finds out, wait a minute, I'm not like who my parents or people, the society told me I was at all.
Mm-hmm.
I'm a whole different consciousness.
Right.
I'm a whole different person. That's the Jesus story. That's the Buddha story.
Yeah.
Right. Right.
And people come to hear that story because it can remind them of their life.
Everybody can relate to that.
That's right.
Yeah. It's not unrelatable. It's not.
Yeah, and that's how I
confined to
present
one
it.
group.
You can believe it the way it's presented. Doesn't take anything away from it, but we all go through that. Joseph Campbell called that the hero's journey, the shero's journey. I've skipped over some things, but there's a child. The child later finds out it's special. Nothing at the beginning, just ordinary Amelia, just ordinary Michelle. Then they start growing up and they start changing the old order. You can't come in here thinking like this. Where'd you get that idea from? Okay, so now people are getting threatened. Herod's threatened. We got to do something about this child.
Mm-hmm.
Got to do something about him. It's getting out of hand.
Again, fear.
And then there it is.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And then the old order is threatened. And then you go through some other hoops. And then you come back and you have this consciousness. Christ consciousness, Buddha consciousness, enlightenment, call it what you will.
Mm-hmm.
That's the spiritual transformation.
Mm-hmm.
Whether it's UFOs or not.
Right.
And
Like
so I make that story
awakening.
palatable.
Yeah.
And I'll be there 5:30. We got a candlelight service and it'll be packed.
The priest here used to call them seeing ears. Christmas, New Year's, and Easter parishioners.
Oh, yeah, I tell
So he
them.
called them seeing ears.
Yeah. No, I tell them. I say, I'm glad you're here because some of you I won't see again until Easter.
Yeah. And then
And
at the end of the summer,
Okay.
it's like, see you later. You're going to cottage country in Canada because everybody goes up north because it's so hot.
Yeah.
It's funny.
So, it's, these stories, it's wisdom from the past, and you can use some of that wisdom. And some of that wisdom you don't use. Just because somebody said something 2,000 years ago doesn't mean it's relevant today.
Right.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
And so this will make you have to pull away. So and again, Michelle, I thank you. I want you. I'm just going to say, please go out and buy the book. Buy all the books. There are 5 books. But if you want the spiritual, the transformation, it's called initiation.
Yeah,
hold them up if you have them there.
I'm sorry.
Hold them up to the camera if you have them next to you.
Yeah,
okay.
It's in the show description too. So
yeah, just so they can get a visual if they're just scrolling through and they forget. Yeah, it's a beautiful cover.
Thank you. A woman in Australia did that for me.
Very nice.
I've designed a couple covers, so if you ever need anyone, I don't draw. I just put things together. Yeah, I'm kidding.
This is Alien Scriptures, Extraterrestrials in the Holy Bible. This is my first book.
Next show.
And this is a new world. Yes. A new world if you can take it.
Love it.
Also another
God,
show.
Extraterrestrials and the
that is a profound cover.
Yes.
Yes, with Jesus and the spaceships.
Yeah.
I already see 2 other shows coming.
Here we
and
go.
This is
1 per book. You have 5, so you got 4 more shows.
This is called God Consciousness.
Nice.
It's a 30-day meditation manual to God-centered thinking.
Love
There's
it.
a lesson each day.
Nice.
Right? And this is called The Metaphysics of Spiritual Healing and the Power of Affirmative Prayer.
Beautiful.
It's
beautiful
metaphysics. Yeah, thank you. It's just about learning to pray instead of saying, "Dear God, please give me this, please give me that." It's like it's just affirming that you know what I need before I even ask. So I'm just going to thank you for sending it to me. It's manifestation.
I'll say thank you first.
Yeah.
Thank you for this. And the universe goes, what do you mean?
You. I know, because I know it's going to happen.
Right. We're going to take a really quick, we have to do sponsor and station ID. Yes. That's the actual work part of this whole night, because this is just like, hanging back and chilling and talking.
Oh, are we still on?
Oh, you betcha.
No, I didn't know. I didn't know. I thought we were on for an hour.
We're on for another half hour.
another 25 minutes at least.
Okay.
Yeah. So you are listening to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the beautiful city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM and 107.7 FM. Tonight, joining us for the first time is Reverend Michael Carter, and we are discussing right now one of the 5 books that he has, and I had to write this down so I don't forget. Initiation, the Spiritual Transformation of the Experiencer. You can get all his books on Amazon, and there is a link as well scrolling through on our ticker at the bottom and as well on our Facebook page, the group page. Stream or listen to all of our archives on the platform you normally use. And a shout out and a thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one. We love you and we thank you for your continued support. Also, a huge thanks for our beautiful intro and outro to Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon. Justin Snicker is an award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp and find him on Facebook and Instagram. Speaking of which, if you are on either Facebook or YouTube, please make sure to give us a like.
Yeah.
And subscribe.
I know what she said. Okay, here we've got a question. I don't know why. It's
Carrie would like to know if you're on Ancient Aliens new season.
I did an episode. I was in LA a couple of weeks ago, and it's supposed to come on in January, I think. We did something on the Ark of the Covenant in Ethiopia, and we did something on the obelisks all around the world in Egypt and
very nice,
and Washington and New York, and
I think I saw that.
On
that one's out.
Göbekli Tepe.
Yes.
And Tepe.
Yeah, I love
beautiful.
It.
They're supposed to come on and they're supposed to air in January, I think.
Oh, okay.
Oh, awesome.
I must have been watching another one that they touched on, so I'll have to watch for that. I watch it all the time. It automatically just on the PVR, so I love the series.
I do the marathons on the weekends.
Yeah.
When I'm not working.
I mean, my God, it's 15 seasons. They've been on 15 seasons.
Yeah. There's a reason for that.
Yes.
Okay.
Carlene. I don't know Carlene.
Kathleen.
Right. Kathleen Marden?
Are you asking about Marden?
Which
Carrie?
Kathleen?
Just elaborate.
Yeah, there's a few.
Yeah, just
there's
elaborate
a few in
on
the
that
field.
one, Carrie. Thank you.
I know Kathleen Marden, who's related to Betty Hill.
Yeah.
Right.
I got the opportunity to interview her years ago.
There we go.
McGowan.
There we go.
Kathleen McGowan.
I don't know her.
There we go. Feel free just to throw some info down there. So the book, do you have is there any stories that stick out when people come to you? And, I mean, I know for me in my field, people are always coming up to me. Everybody's got a story to tell. And every now and then you have one that just sticks out the most. For me, usually it's children who will come, and when they will share a story with me, those are the ones that stick with me, because they're usually the bravest also, because they will tell it like it is and say, this happened.
Yes.
And it stays with me. Have you ever had any experiences like that? Or they're pretty generic?
I
won't say generic. They're all special, but
they've been pretty generic, and some of them is just so much high strangeness. I do use stories in the book. If you look at the book, what gets me about most of the stories is the complete turnaround. It's almost like there's a before and after the experience.
Right.
There's the before of just trying to make it, man, just going to work, and maybe I'm having trouble in my relationship, or just the everyday existential human challenges of life. And then they have these experiences. And again, they don't always, in my book, I'm talking about more extraterrestrial contacts, but you have these experiences where you see past the illusion.
Right. Right.
And the illusion of separateness, the illusion of that this is all there is, that you're alone, whatever it is, it's almost you wake up. Now, I know now people don't like use the word woke or what have you, but Buddha talked about being
It's an
awake.
awakening.
Yeah, it's that you wake up from your slumber and you see that's the through line for me. No matter how far out the experience may seem to be, or maybe how mundane it seems to be.
Yeah.
But it's that transformation that, wait a minute, there's more to it than this. It's the eureka moment, or they call it the aha moment.
Right.
That's what gets me. It can come in an OBE. It can come in an extraterrestrial experience. Like I said, a friend of mine had this experience. It can come, but it's that moment. And you like Alva Wendell Holmes says, once the mind is stretched beyond its dimensions, it can never go back. And that's what gets me about all the stories. Some are more fanciful than others. Some are more dramatic than others. But the outcome is still the same.
Where do you think?
It's a great question.
Where do you think they're coming from? Do you think they're dimensional? Do you think they're above or below?
I think they're coming from various dimensions. I think they're coming from other places in the galaxy. And to be honest with you, I think some of them may be coming from underneath the earth.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah. They've been here much longer than people really want to think about. I don't think people necessarily want to think about the fact that they're sharing direct space with another race of beings, and I think we just need to get over those prejudices and the fears. But when you have people like Stephen Hawking, who would say, don't reach out and send messages and trying to reach out to other races beyond the stars, because they're going to literally come in here and take over and destroy us. It's really hard when you have people who respected Stephen Hawking for his brilliant mind to come out with something like that, because history has a way of repeating themselves, right? And they'll make things like, well, just remember what the Mayans and the Incans went through when the Spaniards came over. It's like, yeah, it's terrifying, but that fear gets instilled far beyond even religion. And you have these great minds that are saying, no, don't do it. And meanwhile, potentially they're already here. We have all of these people who are having awakenings, people who are experiencers and who are having really nice experiences. This is something that I love, the type of stories I love hearing, are the stories you're telling. Preston always tells really positive, upbeat stories as well. And I love it, because, a lot of people come in with the gloom and doom and the fear factor and, in their research, but there's so much more. And it's something that I think is a really wonderful thing, or it has a potential to be. Then you have people with the CE5 movement, which tells me these people are willing to reach out and learn and accept it.
When I was living in New York and I was having these experiences, one of the things that drove me to come out is what you were talking about. There were two camps. There was Bud, and Bud would go back and forth, and Bud and I were very close, so no problem. But Bud, so his support group was people who were having probes and sperm taken and ovum taken, and it was traumatic. But I didn't want to let it be the stereotype that all this was all it was. So I was more in John Mack's camp,
right,
where these could be positive experiences, and so it's not saying that what these other folks were experiencing wasn't true, but it was just that this is true. And that's the world we live in. There's the bitter with the sweet. And it's like the yin yang symbol, you know, there's a little dark and light in the dark. So you know, it's what it is, you know, but it depends on your attitude a lot too. Einstein said that the most important question that you can ever ask is the universe a friendly place? Because the way you answer that question will be the way you go through life.
Right.
And if you go through life waiting for the other shoe to drop, and this is just utter chaos and it's futile and whatever, that's what life will show you, right? Because we're creating our reality.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the template. Is the universe a friendly place?
Mm.
You know, and the way you answer that question is the way your life will wind up being for the most part.
Right. Right. I do agree with that. I think it's all about perception and mindset. I always say it's how you think. What you project comes back to you. Natalie.
Natalie is asking, how do we prepare for their appearances?
Well,
their visits.
I would say this, Natalie, it's not so much preparing for their experiences, for those experiences, but just preparing for the spiritual awakening.
Mm-hmm.
And again, you know, I know Natalie is a deeply spiritual person. I mean, you know, those, I call them spiritual technologies, but you can call them what you will, through your meditations.
Mm-hmm.
All genuine spiritual paths talk about the meditation. And it doesn't have to be staring at a candle, whichever, but it's just the time to be alone, to be quiet, to focus on your breathing. That's the best way. If you have a prayer life, that's fine. But you're raising your vibration when you do that. You're raising your frequency, and you will draw that frequency to you. You may wind up seeing, it may not be an extraterrestrial. You may wind up, might wind up not seeing anybody, but you may wind up visit someone coming from another dimension or what have you. The thing is that you always want to ask why you're doing it.
Mm-hmm.
Why is it? Do I want to be part of a club? Will it make me feel more spiritual if they come? Michael's had these experiences. How come they don't come to me? I've had people say that to me, angry about it. And you have to remind them it's not a competition. I know people who never had these experiences, and they're some of the most deeply spiritual people I know.
Right.
So the thing is it's always about your intent. Well, is it the ego? Well, everybody else is having them. I want to be special too.
That's exactly right.
Yeah,
because everybody wants to feel special.
Because if they want to come to you, believe you me, they will. They will.
How do we explain people who remember and people who don't?
I don't think you can explain. I don't think there's a formula. There are some who do, and there's some who don't. There's some who do once they've been regressed.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? It's like saying with children. I mean, when my daughter was telling me about past lives, and she used to say, "Daddy, I see your friends." I said, "What friends?" She said, "The space people." And then after 5, 6, 7 years old, she didn't remember anymore.
Oh, that's almost like
but
it's
she
almost
was
like
telling
psychic.
me. She was telling me she told me about some past lives that I had with her.
Yeah.
And then you don't. And maybe that's a good thing in some ways. I'm not saying it always is, but look, I believe in reincarnation.
Me too.
I was shown a past life in one of my visits, but I got this life here.
Yeah.
And that's the life I need to be focusing on.
I think you'd be grieving all the losses and the people left behind. And, like I found out about past lives.
I don't know.
Too.
Maybe some people you want to leave behind. Maybe
for sure.
But I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
It depends on what your circumstances were in that life.
I struggled personally through regression.
This is the life you have.
Yeah.
Okay. And if you can draw from those experiences, because we all do, the gifts. Look, the gifts I've been a minister, I've been clergy before in other lifetimes. I've been a healer in other life. You bring those gifts over with you. I've been a writer in other lifetimes. I've been a speaker in other lifetimes. I've been an asshole in other lifetimes. and so, so you bring that stuff over with you. But the thing is you have this life right now. That's why you came back, to live this one. and to prepare for the next one. Because what you're doing in this life, you're preparing for the next.
Oh, come on. Don't we just get a rest? We have to come back again.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't make the rules, but most likely
sometimes I think we're on loop.
How many times?
Well, maybe you'll come back someplace else. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's really.
But this is the life you have.
I always say, you've been around a million times. When, for me, anyways, when it's about the feeling you have when you're with people, not what you can get from people. It's all about everything spiritual, everything beautiful, love, like you said. It's not about the material things. Don't mean as much when you've been around the block a few times. And there's always there's a force that's always guiding you to do better. And I always laugh because when even with Michelle, hear me say, oh, they're just newbies. It's somebody who's being greedy or egotistical. I'm like, that's just their first or second time around. That's why. But I personally can dig deep and see a lot of my other lives. And I believe that that's part of what I'm supposed to be doing right now in order to evolve and continue assisting the way that we need to.
And I agree. So, physical things don't make any difference.
They're great. They're
I'm
fun,
surrounded by amazing
matter.
things, and it could be. I'm not attached. You have to lose that attachment, I think, to the physical.
It's nice. It's nice having things. I'm not going to lie. I love my shoes. Anyone who knows me knows I love my shoes, but it's not important. And those aren't the things that matter.
Right.
No, I agree. I come at it from a little different angle, though, is because it probably took you lifetimes to get there.
Right.
I agree with that as well.
And so, and so in that way, you want to give the gravitas to other souls because, you were there at one time. And sometimes it may take several hundred years or several lifetimes. And so, and so that's what I try to keep that in mind because it's easy to judge and it's easy to be spiritually arrogant.
No,
I mean, that's one of the things that I wrestle with.
I'm not,
and so, yes, they may be newbies or they may be younger.
No, I joke with it because I call my brother a newbie. I grew up with three brothers. Like my life was not simple.
But it takes lifetimes to get to where you are now.
Yeah, absolutely. But
it keeps you humble.
This is something that I've realized in my own life in the past 20 years, not something that I grew up with. As a teenager, I wanted the fancy cars. I wanted the fancy shoes, the diamond rings. I wanted all of it. And then when you get there, it's like, okay, my life's still this. It's still doing that. I'm still facing this. And you realize it. You're grateful. I'm happy for them. But I'm also a person who believes in a longer table, not a fence. I'm the person that you could give me $1 million and I'd find a way to spread it around. I'm not that person that will hold on to it. That's just, I believe, from my experience, from my other lives. I'm not trying to be arrogant. I think that perhaps in another life, I probably was an asshole who had a lot and took it for granted. And now it's like my life to give it instead of sit with it. That's just my personal experience.
Yeah, well, it can run deep.
Yeah, sure. That can go on forever. It's just a personal lesson.
Well, it goes, getting back to what we'll talk, like memories of that sort, past lives. Do you think, there's a lot of implanted memories, not even our own memories. There's a big belief that sometimes we are, it makes you question, are we even who we think we are? Because when you have these experiences, you just get implanted memories in some cases. And maybe the only way to get to the root of that and get the real memories is through hypnosis. Do you find? Because there's sometimes people come up with some really surreal stuff, contactees. And I'd be just like, she goes, that doesn't even seem like it could be a possibility. I'm like, right?
Yeah. No, I hear you. And I want to be clear, Amelia, just to go back. I'm not saying you're arrogant.
No, I know that.
I'm just saying that it's easy to fall into the trap of that, because one of the things about All You Need Is Stuff.
Yeah, he said the Beatles. Preston says the Beatles didn't sing All You Need Is Stuff. But shoes are good, Preston.
Yeah. One of the things I think is that I recommend hypnosis. I will say this, and please be patient with me.
No, of course.
This is going to take a long time, but
no, it's okay.
You'll have time.
I know that we're social animals, and we want to belong. And at conferences and stuff, I know people who will say they will tell their experiences, and to me, some of them seem so far out.
Right.
And the whole UFO thing is far out, but these people really take the cake. Now, I'm not going to say that didn't happen.
Right.
Because I would never say that, and I don't know. But I do know that people want to be, they want to be shoes are good.
He's making fun of me. Mine too, Preston, just saying.
Yeah, but people want to be, he's crazy. But people want to be part of something.
Right.
And, I see it at my church. Sometimes people come up and talk to me and they think they've had experiences or they want to have experiences. And I have to remind them it's not a competition. Right. It doesn't make you less special. You have to be careful what you ask for. But when I did the conference in, Kathleen Martin was there in Knoxville, there was a woman we were on a panel, and there was a woman who was angry that they weren't coming to her. Why? She's a good person. She's doing. So I just, again, I listen. I'll be encouraging. I'm not ever going to say to someone, did that really happen? That's not my place.
No.
But I just try to feel. I keep my heart open as much as I can.
Yeah.
But getting back to your thing, Michelle, I recommend hypnosis if you get a good person. There's there's varying, levels of expertise, and you don't want to be getting leading questions and what have you. But no one that I know seems to have come up with a better way to uncover some of these memories. And some of them may be embellished, some of them, but you at least stand a chance of finding out what happened.
Yeah, because I've actually spoken to a couple of people who went under hypnosis, and one of them basically said, she goes, apparently these weren't my real memories. They were just implanted memories.
It's screen memories to cover up memories.
That's so scary. That's the scary part.
Yeah, it is. So I thought, oh my gosh, can hypnosis go through?
Sometimes no. Sometimes no. I remember reading some of Dolores Cannon and I forget who else, and they were talking about a voice came through in one instance and said, "No, we're not letting you go there. They're not ready for this yet."
Okay, that is so scary.
There we go. Or my lab,
So you play the hand you dealt. You deal with what you can. Maybe some of them people can handle. Maybe they are too frightening. So I still recommend it though. If you think you've been an experiencer, or you think you are an experiencer, if you can find someone in your area, or someone you can talk to, a support group, and sometimes sometimes you can remember stuff in your meditations when you go deep enough. So there are ways.
Yes. There you go, people. For those of you out there, I'm still on the fence. Just because I'll come out and then I'll hear this little telepathic voice saying no. It's like, why? Why not? It's like, now that challenge accepted, So I'm still on the fence. It's just, I don't know. My mind can be a bit of a dark, crazy place sometimes. I don't know that you really want to delve into it. It's a crazy world in there. But so as we're slowly inching into the last 10 minutes or so of the show, what do you have coming up that you like to share with people and get people over to support you?
I did a show in LA a couple months ago. I didn't even know the show was on. America's Greatest Mysteries or something. Lawrence Fishburne is the host.
Oh.
And they're doing something on the Phoenix Lights. I mean, that's been the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, it
I
is,
think it's
isn't
like
it?
the 25th
Yes.
anniversary, and Lynn, and she's kept it alive, and it's good now that she has done that. She's persevered. So that's supposed to happen like around the first of the year as well.
Okay.
And that's really those two shows, that and the Ancient Aliens, and that's been about it. It's been a busy year with work and that kind of thing. And I moved to a new home and got married a couple weeks ago.
Well,
And
congratulations.
thank you. I've had practice, so thank you.
Yeah,
I've had some practice. And so it's been, and running back and forth to LA and stuff, which is, it sounds more sexy than it is, but I'm grateful for it.
Right.
And that's been about it. Looking forward to the holiday season, looking forward to this Christmas Eve service. I just love this kind of time of year. I didn't always, but I do. And hopefully we'll get a chance to talk again.
I can assure you we shall.
We have 4 more books.
Yeah, we can talk. And I want to just thank you for having me on. I want to let people know they can go to Amazon. My website is michaeljscarter.com. You can go to Amazon. My email is michaeljscarter@gmail. And I want to thank you and Preston and Natalie and all the people who are tuning in, who are working on themselves, who are trying to just evolve, because it takes courage and it's hard work. And we're in a crazy time right now, but we'll get through it. And, I just wish you all peace, and reach out, and don't let them take away your joy. I mean, we're at a crossroads here. We can go either way, but the world is changing. A new world's trying to be born, and it's messy. And, but just keep loving, keep trying to at least enjoy the season, no matter what, whatever it is you celebrate. Know that you are loved. And just keep on keeping on. I mean, it's a journey. It's a journey.
Beautiful time of year, though, isn't it?
Yes,
because the spirit. It's the spirit. It doesn't matter what you believe in. The spirit, the love that's in the air right now. Unless you're at the mall.
It's unity.
Well, yeah. I mean, I know it's a hard time for people.
Yeah.
Family dynamics, the commercialism of it all. But you can learn to love. I don't want to, I don't want to paint a picture of just it's all kumbaya.
Right.
But
No.
if you can find something to hold on to get you through the next day, the next hour, do it. You are loved. You are taken care of. And you can make it through. There are people out there, and you're one of them. That's I would just encourage you. And if you have to turn the TV off and not look at some of this mess, take a break.
Always.
Preston, you got to give me a call. Well, I'll call you in the next couple of days. And Natalie, all of you. But yeah, just keep it up. This is a great ministry that you got here. And keep it going. And I got to tell you, it's good to see sisters doing this.
Thank you.
It's good to have the female energy in the house, because we don't, thank you, Dolly, we don't get enough of it. And hey, Terry, and so peace be with you as well. So keep it up and keep the shows coming. And you're raising the vibration, and you're not alone.
Right. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, we're for a show standpoint, something that started out just being fun now has got this, and it's this entire movement that has millions of listeners a night, which is like, how'd that happen?
And it's still fun. And you know why? I remember Marianne Williamson, before she was Marianne Williamson, when she was doing Course in Miracles in New York. I used to go to her lectures. And she said something that has stuck with me. She said, if you truly have something to say, there's always going to be people who truly need to hear it. And your listeners are testimony to that.
Thank you. We're very, it's a very humbling experience. We're very fortunate that so many people enjoy the show, but it's all because of the guests. And that's people like yourself and Preston and Dolly. And we've had so many amazing people have come in and shared their knowledge and their expertise. And that's what it's about. It's just passing it on.
Learning, awareness.
Well, thank you for giving us the platform. Because this is beautiful.
Thank you.
Like I said, I was looking forward to it. Call me. We'll set something else up.
Yes.
And let's just keep it going.
4 more.
Yeah. I mean, I'll do.
And if you write another book,
I'll do as many as possible. Because I mean, we could do a show just on current events, just to encourage people.
Yeah.
Sure. Because you pick up the newspaper, or you pick up social media, and you go, man, I think it's time to pull the trigger. And it's not. It's not as bad as they make it.
Yeah.
You definitely need to meet Joe.
I know.
Well, yeah, we can talk about anything. You see this picture? Well, you can't see it. One of Preston's family members did this. Oh, you can't. Can I?
That's beautiful. Yeah, we see it.
Yeah,
right
absolutely.
In the corner there.
Preston, can you see it?
Yeah,
wow.
It's beautiful.
Anyway, it's an extraterrestrial. He's very human looking, and he's standing in front of a big crystal. I think his sister did it. Anyway, great artwork.
Beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Yeah, she does the artwork for his books.
Yes.
Yeah, I know. We love the artwork.
Sweet.
Fantastic. Yeah. I bought a book too. But yeah, I got the Buddha over here. I got an extraterrestrial over here that a psychic told me was one of my spirit guides. I got Tut over here. I got Reiki symbols. This is my little cave.
It's a whole love and light sort of space, which is
I do my Reiki down here. Right. And so that's the story, ladies.
I love it. And I will be in touch, and we will book you again, because we're already booking like well into the year. So I know it's a wonderful thing. Like I said, it's very humbling. But I will be in contact.
Yeah, give me a
very
call.
shortly. I will, absolutely. And thank you for joining us. It was just so much fun. You're such a delight, and I definitely
looking in the mirror. Looking in the mirror.
All right. Thank you.
Y'all looking in the mirror.
Thank you. So have yourselves, a wonderful evening. Probably going to go now, settle in with a nice glass of wine and a movie.
Yeah, I got to work tomorrow. I think I'm going to need it tomorrow. I got some crazy people in my congregation. I love them, but some of them, woo.
Time and a place.
Lord, God bless them. So we will talk soon, ladies.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Happy holidays.
Have a wonderful Christmas. Have whatever you celebrate.
You as well. Thank you.
Thank
you so much.
Well.
I learned so much.
Good night.
You. Thank you.
Good night. Oh my gosh, that was just so delightful. Just like having Preston on all over again. You feel all giddy inside after that, but honestly, it's we're already at the top of the hour, and I can't believe how fast it goes for real. So officially, big thank you to Reverend Michael Carter, who is just delightful and full of information, and just so uplifting to be listening to. So big thank you to him. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee for sponsoring our show. Big thank you to Justin Snicker, Dr. Snick, the Sonic Surgeon, for being a sponsor on our show. If you guys love the content, no matter where you're listening, please follow, like, subscribe, support. Yeah, we love you. Be great. Thursday night, tomorrow, we welcome back Dave Benison. You guys are going to love him. The last time he was on with Mitch Markowitz from the hilarious House of Frightenstein. And he's coming on tomorrow, and he's got all these crazy stories about weird Niagara. And his Facebook page is crazy. It gets millions of people interacting on it. So people really dig this stuff. So holy crud. Also tomorrow, newsflash, we have big changes here at United Public Radio. We're opening up January for daytime shows. Yes. And they're going to be free spots. Just saying. So definitely email me. That email has to go to Michelle DeRoche Contact. gmail.com. And let us know what you've got. And one of the new shows coming on starting tomorrow night is called Spirit Quest with Paul Francis out of the UK. He's going to be debuting 5 to 7 p.m. Central, 6 to 8 p.m. Eastern. He's got an amazing reputation. He's just a wonderful guy. So much information. Honestly, you guys are not going to want to miss this. So until then, however, everybody try to behave yourselves, and we will see you tomorrow. And thank you, Preston. Thank you, Dolly, everybody in chat. We love you all. My gosh, thank you all for joining us. And we will see you tomorrow. Take care. Good night.